Welcome, guys, to episode 4 of Hayriye and Huriye's dissertation on Turkish pop culture. Thank you for tuning in for another week. In this week, we are unpacking the worst deaths in Yeşilçam. And we know, a disclaimer, we know there are more than the 6. We're going to go through 6, aren't we, Hayriye?
Yes.
There are more worse deaths than the 6 that we're going to talk about, but we are just selecting these for our own pleasure. So I am Huriye and you are
Hayriye. And
we are from Melbourne and we welcome everyone to this show. So basically what we aim to do in this thesis is analyse 6 worst death scenes in Yeşilçam, and both Hayriye and Huriye collectively love Yeşilçam movies. We hope you guys do too. We think they are both amazing and weird and completely outrageous all at the same time. So by the end of this show, we will discuss 6 death scenes and come to a conclusion that we will find out at the end. So over to you, Hayriye, the first death scene you're going to talk about.
I will be talking about a scene in Karatejikas, which translates to Huriye.
Karate Girl.
Brilliant. A+.
Thank you.
So Karatejikas is a 1973 Turkish martial arts action film. It's directed by Orhan Aksoy and stars Filiz Akın and Edison as the main characters. But this death scene includes Filiz Akın and Bülent Kayabaş.
Yes.
So the funny thing about this scene is in September 2012, this scene went viral.
Yeah, why did that happen? I remember that.
Yeah, I'm not sure who uploaded it, but it became viral worldwide as the worst death scene.
It was in one of the American morning shows or night shows. It was actually on one of those like
Jimmy Fallon or
something?
I
think Jimmy Fallon put it up. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently the video reached 17 million views really quickly.
No.
Yeah, and everyone was petitioning to have Bülent Kayabaş have an Oscar for his performance.
Oh, rahmetli.
Yeah. So a brief plot of the movie before I go into the scene.
The scene, yeah.
Is this story is about Zeynep, who lives with her old father, and she basically doesn't have the ability to speak because of an accident. So she needs an operation so she can talk again. And one day, 5 prison fugitives come to their house and kill her father and take all their money, etc., do a lot of really bad things. And basically Zeynep is the Karatejikas that goes on a warpath to seek revenge on all those fugitives.
And one of the fugitives being Bülent Kayabaş.
Yes,
yeah.
So this is his revenge scene. So she basically sneaks into his room and he's wearing a wig and glasses.
What?
When she walks in, he's actually wearing a blonde wig, a shaggy wig.
Because he's a fugitive. Okay,
yeah, so he's hiding.
Yep.
And then she takes off his glasses and takes off his wig, and he is shocked. He's so surprised that he's been found out. He was like, I've got a brilliant disguise. No one will find me ever.
And so what makes this one of the worst death scenes?
Okay, so it takes him about 2 to 3 minutes to die, firstly. So the scene starts with them starting with karate fighting scenes.
Of course.
And
that's the movie's name.
Yes, that's the movie's name. So you've got to honour the title of the movie at least once.
Mm-hmm.
So they start off with karate moves, and then all of a sudden Bülent, as the evil man, we'll call him evil man, he takes out a knife, and Filiz Akın's character Zeynep, she does this high kick, kicks the knife out of his hand, and all of a sudden it's in her hand. So she's now
That's
one up.
A Cüneyt Arkın move.
Yeah, our classic Cüneyt Arkın move. And then basically, so it takes a total of 6 gunshots to kill the evil fugitive. So the first shot that Zeynep pulls the trigger, and you see Bülent Kayıbaş squeezing the pump of blood near his stomach. So you can hear the gunshot, and then obviously he has the blood squirter. I don't know. I'm not a film connoisseur. In his hand. Yeah. And he's squeezing it so the blood starts squirting out. Aww. And he dramatically turns around, and then Zeynep, so Filiz Akın's character, another gunshot. Yeah. And then the fugitive is twirling around the house with a gunshot, just touching everywhere as well. So he's got blood on his hands, but he's not keeping the place clean. He's like, well, if I'm dying, this place will be covered in red. So he, gunshot 3, 4, this time he's got his hands all against the wall and he's rubbing his hands against the wall. And then 4, 5, 6, and it's taking a lot longer than how I'm explaining it. So basically the 6th gunshot is when he actually falls to the bed and starts the process of actually dying. And that's my first contribution.
So does he say anything in his last words when he's dying? No?
I don't think so. There's music over the top. So that's unless true. I've watched
and
a
then
version.
some small edits on the internet have him yelling, but I think that's a second edit. Someone's added that in.
Yeah. I think one of the viral videos has him yelling ah!
Yeah.
But the original just has the karate music over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just stares at her while he's dying how dare you? I thought the wig and sunglasses would have helped me survive. You found me out.
Wow, that was a really good find.
Söylemeliydim. Kendi mahkumiyetini, ölümünü bile göze alıp susmayacaktım mahkemede. Senin gururunu kıracak bir itirafla kurtulmaktansa ölmeyi tercih ederim. Hakan. Deli Hakan. Yürekli Hakan'ım benim kardeşim.
Okay, my first one that I'm going to talk about is from actually one of my favourite movies when I was a kid, because I love Tarık Akan. It's called Suçlu, and it's actually one of his first movies. So I don't know if you know much about Tarık Akan, but he became famous in 1970 after winning a competition with Ses dergisi, Ses magazine. Mm-hmm. And that was a common way to enter the Yeşilçam cinema scene back then. So Suçlu was directed by Mehmet Dinler, and basically the real quick plot is it's a story between two friends, which is Tarık Akan and Yalçın Gülhan, and they grow up as pretty much like brothers, and their Yalçın Gülhan is a lawyer, and Tarık Akan becomes like a gazinocu, which is gazinocu in English would be casino owner, like
club owner.
Club, yeah, it's not really a casino. And anyway, so they marry. Tarık Akan marries Fatma Belgen, and Yalçın Gülhan gets married to Bahar Erdeniz, but he lives in Izmir and Tarık lives in Istanbul. Okay. Long story short, they have rocky marriages, and Tarık actually never meets Yalçın's wife.
Okay.
And Yalçın and Bahar in this period have separated, and she comes to Istanbul and become a singer. And surprise, surprise, she ends up meeting Tarık and starts working in his gazino, and then they start getting close, and they commit adultery. And right the day after, she sees a photo with Tarık and her husband.
Not the day before.
Not the day before. The day before she would have been protected. The day after. And then she's like, "Hayır, olamaz," and all that sort of drama. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so a whole lot of plot twists happen, and someone is trying to frame Tarık Akan for a murder. And so
Okay.
they know the affair, so they take... Bahar Erdeniz had given him a watch as a gift. So they take that watch and place it in the crime scene next to the dead man.
Oh, okay.
So because Yalçın is a lawyer, he's like, "I'm going to, represent you." Mm-hmm. And so he comes from Izmir, but when he comes from Izmir, there's this scene, really funny way that he gets shot. So he's going into the car, and this man shoots the air, but it ends up... it's like culture kemiği. What's culture kemiği?
Like a hip bone.
Hip bone. Yeah, it ends up like in a hip bone area. I don't know how it makes its way there. But yeah, so then he becomes unable to walk. So he's in a wheelchair. And... The day of the court scene is what I want to talk about. So the last 3 minutes is when all the death happens.
Okay.
So in the last 3 minutes, there's a scene where Bahar Erdeniz, whose name is Ayla, gets shot in the middle of the middle of the actual trial. So there's lots of people in the courtroom, and I don't know how the bad guys got the guns in there, but clearly there was no search and seizure happening. So so she yells out saying, "Oh, I know who the true murderer is. It's these guys." And then obviously those guys shoot her. But before they did that, they have planted the seed in Yalçın's head that his wife was in fact with his best friend Tarık, and Yalçın, who was a very healthy man apart from getting shot, has a heart attack but decides to hold his stomach in the process of having a heart attack.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and
so maybe he's got an appendix problem as well.
And we're told that he's having a heart attack because he happens to have also a nurse next to him.
Ah, okay.
Very conveniently, yeah. And then before he proceeds to die from his heart problems, in the ambulance, as the little snippet we heard, they have a moment with Tarık Akan, and he says everything that he wanted to say to him. Conveniently, his wife, Bahar Erdeniz, has also died in the courtroom. So she died from the one gunshot that sort of appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Yalçın Gülhan dies in a very dramatic way in the ambulance. But it's really funny because when the ambulance stops at the hospital, Tarık Akan's character Hakan, he's like holding on to Yalçın when they're trying to take him in, and there's a really dramatic moment of
"Oh no,
vermem," and so that was the scene that I wanted to talk to. But overall, until the last 3 minutes, I reckon the movie's quite good to watch, and I really like the soundtrack of it.
Kurşun ata biter, gide biter. Ben yıkılmam, aç karım. Ben körüm, asla yıkılmam.
Number 2 for me is a scene in Yıkılmayan Adam, starring Cüneyt Arkın. So in English, that's the Indestructible Man
Yeah.
or Unstoppable.
Oh, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger had a movie, Indestructible Man, or something like that. Maybe he got the idea from Junaid.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's what's exactly happened.
Maybe he was like, Ben Yesilcam. Was that a Ghanani? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's horrible. I don't know what that was.
Let's cut that out.
All right, so what is this movie about?
So this movie was a 1977 Turkish political, almost like gangster film. And it's actually part 3 of a 3-part trilogy. So this is where the Yıkılmayan Adam actually dies. Spoiler alert. So the final scene, Cüneyt Arkın's character is named Çakır. So
Çakır. This
Yeah.
is where Polat Alemdar got his character names from.
yeah, I assume so. I'm going to agree with you.
I didn't realize his name was Çakır. All right, continue.
So yeah, I do my research. What can I say? So in this scene, Çakır doesn't get shot once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. He gets shot a total of 14 times
No.
before he dies.
But does he actually yıkıl or no?
No, but he dies. But I think the
Hold on,
point
he's dead standing up.
No. I thought you meant like metaphysically.
So does he actually fall?
Yes.
He does.
After the 14th
Okay.
gunshot.
All right. I thought maybe judging from that snippet, even when I die, I'm not going to fall is what he's saying. So I thought potentially he didn't.
Yeah, no, he didn't rise up to the heavens. So he gets, I mean, the first gunshot hits him like right in the neck and he's still walking around.
Are you serious?
And you can hear in that snippet, he's just saying, Yesilcam!
Yes, full on yelling. And
Yeah.
how many shots had he had on that point? Do you remember?
So he had about 4 and he's still going on about how he's indestructible. And he's like, I might die, but I will never fall down.
Oh, that would have been a good line for our mums. Like when they were trying to tell us off, you would have been like, we might fall, but we're not going to be, defeated.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, punish me once, shame on you. Punish me 14 times, I still shame on you.
That's a brilliant one. That's a good find.
Tayfun niye yardım etti bana? Neden geri çekildi? Çünkü sen ona gittin.
Evet, gittim. Senin yakanı bırakmasını söyledim.
Niçin?
Çünkü benim yüzümden zarar görmeni istemiyordum. Rica ettim, kabul ettin.
Karşılığında kendini verdin. Yattın onunla.
Hayır!
Well, that dramatic scene was from a movie from 1985 called Paramparça, directed by Halit Refi, and starring my favourites, again, Tarık Akan, Cüneyt Arkın. Cüneyt has made it into this one too. And Gülşen Bibikoğlu. Like, I was obsessed with Gülşen Bibikoğlu when I was a kid. Her and Türkan Şoray. Anyway, that's beside the point. So this movie is basically a 3 like love circle triangle type
love
thing.
triangle.
So what happens is Gülşen Bibikoğlu was the old girlfriend of Tarık Akan, but for some reason something happened and they've broken up like years ago. She ends up meeting Cüneyt, doesn't initially give him hope, but he falls in love and he proposes to her and stuff. Tarık is with another girl at this stage, but then he breaks up with her. Coincidentally, they meet up again and, love kindles. But things happen and they separate in a really bizarre format. But so she ends up marrying Cüneyt, and that was Cüneyt and Gülşen in the scene at the start of this clipping. And so anyway, he thinks his wife is cheating on him with Tarık, and anyway, so everyone ends up splitting up. Tarık with his wife, Cüneyt with Cüneyt with Gülşen, and Tarık and Gülşen sort of are together, and the death scene is at the end of the movie. So by this stage, the three of them, Tarık, Cüneyt and Gülşen, like they've sort of made up, and Cüneyt is like, all right, like I forgive you guys type thing. And they're in an open field. Of course. And in this time, he's forgiven him, but Tarık's wife hasn't forgiven him. So, and she happens to have a helicopter. So
just cause.
Yeah, her dad has a helicopter, and her dad, which is Orhan Günseray, is in the helicopter, and they have a handheld pistol, so a gun that's obviously not designed to be shot from helicopters.
No.
But he manages to shoot all three of them.
Wow.
Once in, areas that are non-life-threatening. However, they still all manage to die.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's the dramatic scene of Tarık and Gülşen holding hands at the end in the open field.
Yeah, wow. It's like Titanic, but in an open field and shot by a helicopter rifle.
And an extra person.
And a third wheel.
A third wheel. Yeah, they all went together. Yeah, it was a very dramatic way. But I had seen this on many occasions, but when I revisited it, when we're trying to find, death scenes for this show, I just thought to myself, this is so funny. Like, how did I believe this as a child that, I was crying because they were dying? I was crying because I was like, oh, why can't they be together? But yeah, it was, it was wrong in most, like, watching it as an adult, you're like, just grow up, bloody hell, find someone else. Like, why are you?
It's not a big deal.
Why are you hooked onto these two guys that are, like, obviously quite, Cüneyt's character is quite narcissistic to begin with.
Okay.
Like, and I'm just like, he goes, you have to marry me. I won't let you marry him. Like that type. Yeah, I know. And I was just like, oh my God, just go find someone else. But yeah, anyway, that's me.
But also, a helicopter, surely you'd have better aim if you were on the ground. Right? If you were closer?
That's right. Like, you can't, there's no...
So dramatic.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I imagine with a hand-powered pistol, it's very hard to fire from a helicopter, yeah.
Okay, my last one is from a 1986 film called Gülümse Biraz, starring İbrahim Tatlıses.
Which means smile a little. Yeah?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tatlıses. I was like, no.
Why would I translate Tatlıses? All right, go on.
Okay, sorry, yeah. So, Smile a Little, starring İbrahim Tatlıses and Ahu Tuğba. But this scene includes İbrahim Tatlıses's first love interest. So it's very early in the movie.
It's actually the
start of the movie, sorry. Not even very early. But so basically, to set the scene, it's a couple like walking through the city, holding hands, clearly, enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And then İbrahim Tatlıses's character says to his significant other, his female friend, he says, I've got a surprise for you. Let's have a little bit of fun. So this is a perfect date idea for anyone listening. He says, so they're on a bridge, so they're walking over a bridge and there's heavy traffic. And he says, let's do something really fun. I'm going to cross through all of these cars and then you're going to do the same thing and it's going to be really fun.
Oh, in what planet does he think this is fun?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess dating back in 1986 might have been like that. I don't know. I wasn't alive, so I'm not sure.
Okay, and so he decides to...
So he's the first one to go. So he's like swerving through traffic, like there are car horns beeping, and he's like, oh, God, I'm going so well, blah, blah, blah. And then he's calling out to Turkan, who's his girlfriend, and he's saying, it's your turn now. And she's like, oh, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, it'll be fine. Needless to say, it wasn't fine because she gets hit by a car, and then Ibrahim Tatlıses, as you probably heard in that clip, just yells, Turkan!
So I want to know, like, if he went on a date after killing Turkan, because he did kill Turkan, let's be honest. What do you say on your first date? Oh, you know, my ex, she died. How did she die? Oh, you know, she was crossing a bridge that was really, you know, peak hour traffic. Oh, why was she doing that? Oh, you know, I thought it was a fun date idea. You know, it was, you know, free and entertaining, and she happened to die. Like, how do you explain that?
It's unexplainable. I was reading through some of the comments because I was looking at this clip on YouTube.
I
because,
love the comments.
To be honest, sometimes I'm a lazy student. So when it comes to this thesis, I didn't want to watch the whole movie.
I don't blame you. I don't think some of these are worth the time to watch.
No, and I think if you were on a date and someone said to you, let's play this game of chicken on the road, major red flags.
I would say that. I would say just run the other way.
So someone in these comments. So again, for a bit of context, so what they used to do in Yeşilçam is there used to be actors that would partner up quite often. Mm-hmm. So you'd often see them in leading roles together.
Yeah, like I think Türkan Şoray, Kadir Naner, Tarık Akan, Gülşen Bebikoğlu. Yeah.
And for example, Ibrahim Tatlıses and Hülya Avşar were seen as like a good cinematic couple.
Correct.
And so someone's comment here was, well, if it was Hülya Avşar, you wouldn't surprise her like this.
She'd be smart enough not to walk across. She'll go to the lights or be like, nah, not doing it, mate. Not doing it.
So I laughed a lot at that comment, and there was another comment here saying, well, this is a great example of natural selection.
That's bad. But, you know, that movie sounds bad in itself. I don't think I actually want to watch that movie.
No, and I don't think I want to date anyone like that either.
Daha. Bağışsın Orhan Bey. Sevgilim dinle bak. Karabiberini de çok koy. Emredersin.
Hayriye, bana bir Vladimir'i. That clip that you just saw from, I mean, or you just heard, sorry, you didn't see, is from, again, surprise, surprise, I'm going on a Tarık Akan spree here, but it's Tarık Akan. And there was no, I want to say there was no intent on finding Tarık Akan movies, but it ended up being like that. When I was analysing, when I wrote them down, I was like, oh shit, Tarık is in all of these movies. All right. So barrage means dam. Because you're just staring at me like a lamb.
I'm listening.
Didn't know what the answer to that was.
I didn't know you were asking.
This movie was done in 1977 and the director is Orhan Aksoy and the lead people are Tarık Akan, Türkan Şoray and Nasır Melek, who was an Iranian actor, I believe, at the time.
Okay.
So they had collaborations with like other, like they had Italian actors sometimes, they, you know, and vice versa. So basically the plot of this is Tarık Akan's character, he's like an unreliable guy that has a lot of debt. So he's sent by his debt collectors to a dam to work off his debts. And the dam owner is the Iranian man, Nasir Melek, and basically he's like an older man that's not particularly good looking. Obviously Tarık Akan is Tarık Akan. He's very handsome, tall and, you know, athletic. And the dam manager, Nasir, I'm just going to call him Nasir, basically is pen pals, or he's writing to someone, to a lady.
Ooh,
yeah, it's like the
catfishing?
early dating. So they used to have, back in the day, obviously they didn't have Tinder, so they had in newspapers they would say, I'm an ex-year-old male or female looking for companion or, you know, husband, and la la la. So he has been writing to Türkan Şoray. And so they've been writing for a while, but Türkan Şoray is a prostitute. So she, you know, and she's like, oh, I want to see your face. And because he is self-conscious, and Tarık Akan has just come and he's submitted his paperwork, he gets his photo from the paperwork.
He's a catfish.
And then he gives Türkan the false photo. So Türkan thinks she's talking to Tarık. Anyway, long story short, Türkan comes and, you know, and Nasir says to Tarık, well, you have to pretend you're me, this, that. And Tarık has a fun time doing it until, you know, obviously Yalancının mumu yatsıya kadar yanar, which is, I don't want to even know what the direct translation is there for that. Basically, a lie doesn't stay a lie for a long time, and the truth comes out. And the last part of the death scene happens in, obviously, the last probably maybe 2 minutes of the movie. So Türkan ends up, spoiler alert, shooting Tarık because Tarık it turns out to be like a bit of a narcissistic person, and it's all about him. And the reason why this death scene is really horrid is because it's like he gave up the acting. So he gave up the acting the last 3 minutes or 2 minutes of this movie because
needed a break.
He needed a break, and although he was going to die and that was going to be his break, he still has the worst acting skills in the last 2 minutes of this, where he's like, I'm going to say it in English. So he's like, I'm dying, but you are still mine. And then she shoots him more, and then he's like, you are still mine. And then he dies.
Ugh, gross.
So it's a really gross way to die. Like, at least go with dignity is what I'm going to say. You know, you've already done enough to the woman. She's now going to go into jail because of you. You've killed her husband.
Wait, did he kill...
Yeah, he does. He kills her husband. That's why she ends up shooting him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then, and a whole lot of other stuff, basically. He laughs at her face because she's a prostitute, or she was a prostitute, and all that sort of stuff. So he's a mean guy. He's not, like, he's a really, you know, it is the time where he's quite good looking, like he's got a really good physique and all that. But that doesn't mean be a prick, you know, be a person. And...
So he looks down on her because she's a sex worker, and he...
Yes.
And he thinks...
Yeah, but then he's also in love with her. Like, he falls in love with her. That's why he's just like, if I can't have you, no one can. And he shoots the guy that she marries.
Red flags.
Yeah, he's narcissistic to the, definition of narcissism. So anyway, so those were the 6 death scenes that we analysed. Please let us know what you thought of these, or if you had other suggestions we should have covered and we haven't. We're more than happy to cover those. What is our conclusion in this thesis?
Our conclusion is the best deaths are those that take the longest and where you're able to speak everything you wanted to speak throughout your whole life before you actually peace out.
Air your dirty laundry before you go. Say everything you had to say and then exit.
Exactly. And if you want to trash the room while doing so, please go ahead, touch all the walls, make sure whoever has to clean it isn't going to like their job.
Don't exit gracefully. That's the way that you die in Yeşilçam.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you in a week's time. Have a lovely week. Görüşürüz.
Görüşürüz.